Okay, we're loading. I think we're having some minor issues getting this game started. I'm not certain why. Come on, guys. I think it's gonna crash again. Oop. Did it finally go through? Okay. We're here, finally. Okay, folks. We are day 4 out of 6 in Desolation Point. We are waiting for stuff to finish securing. Day 22. We're kind of heavy right now, aren't we? Okay, let's yeah, sorry guys for a late start tonight. We had a meeting with online meeting with one of my mentors, librarian mentor, and that kind of ran a little bit long. I was hoping to be on earlier this week. I've just been really crazy busy this week. Different things have come up. Things a little challenging, but fine. I'm also in the process of organizing a local D&D group. At the beginning of the day, I was thinking no one had shown any interest and it was going to be tough to get a group going, and then one person responded. By end of the day, I suddenly have too many people. I now have 7 interested players. Let's be honest, we probably... Oh, we don't need to carry this around anymore. No, we've forged. This is empty. We don't need to carry that. Don't really need that anymore. Why is everything so slow right now? This is pretty sad.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
I think so. I've been having this weird intermittent problem where my solid state drive that has most of my games on it occasionally just disappears. Like Windows can't find it. Usually it's after the system's running for some time. I'm thinking based on some of the different articles I've read, there's a lot of speculation that Microsoft released an update last year that has caused a limited number of solid state drives to inexplicably disable themselves, like exactly like this. And they claim that it's not happening, but it is happening. So, but one of the factors that seems to contribute to like it kind of crapping out like this is when that drive is more than 75% full. And I'm wondering, because I think my drive is more than 75% full, if I can actually solve this problem by moving some of my game installation files to the other solid state drive. I have 2 solid state drives, well, technically 3, but there's the operating system drive, which I'm not really installing anything on, and then there's one that I had for projects, and then one that I had for games. So I'm wondering if since the project drive is pretty underutilized at the moment, I think it might be worth migrating some of my files from the games drive to the project drive, and then seeing if that makes any difference in stability. So instead of having 75% on one drive, like have it more balanced, so it's like 50-50. So at least we don't have cabin fever. So I don't know, we'll see here. But yeah, so if you notice any sluggishness, I think that might be the issue. Is this the drive that the Long Dark's installed on may be having issues. Luckily, there's nothing else on that drive other than games, so if it craps out, they're just all easy to reinstall. Welcome in, Lurker. If you're... Hey, Weevil! Good to see you. We are currently doing Roll With It once again. And it's not too bad. I am adjusting to living in a new part of the country. I am now in Toronto, Ontario. So I moved from the west coast of Canada to the east coast of Canada. Yep. And so, and in the process, I moved out here for a new job. Oh, you're in New York. Yeah. Just across the way. So, new job has been keeping me busy, but survival. I have a long weekend coming up, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll have Monday off. But it's also been a bit of a headache. It's been quite expensive to move cross country and settle into a new place. Especially since I don't get my first paycheck until the end of this month. So it's a lot of out-of-pocket expenses. I'm hoping I can recoup some of my expenses soon. was still waiting for my reimbursement for my expenses for my interview. So back in December, they flew me out here for the interview, except for they didn't fly me out here. I paid for my travel, and they put me up in the hotel, but I had to pay for meals and I had to pay for my travel, and then they were going to reimburse me, but it's all really slow. But the pay's good. Being a librarian in Canada is much better than being a librarian in the U.S. So, and an academic librarian is a great job. I only wish that this position were a permanent role and not just a 1-year maternity leave role. But it's good experience, good training, lots of good networking. So. We already were out searching this earlier. Yeah. So, I don't know. Right now I feel a little bit overextended. Just waiting for that first paycheck to come through.
Did I say I hate being told? Because I really do.
Yeah, I think if I can make it, the first couple months are going to be critical. Thankfully it's a good work team to be on. They're very friendly and supportive and flexible. Realistic in their expectations of what I'm going to be able to pick up quickly and what I will need a little bit more time to learn. Birch bark. We get another fish? No. Oh, there is another fish.
It's a goddamn freezing.
Yeah.
Come on, little fire.
No, it's still pretty early days right now. I think, let's see what our record shows here. We started off 9 days in PV, so I guess that was pretty long for a first area, but there was lots to do. Coastal Highway for 7, Crumbling Highway for 2, 6 days here in Desolation Point. So we're getting close to being done here. I guess technically we're on day 22 right now. Oops. So not too bad. Too early to complain. I mean, I think it's really after day 50 when we start getting the potentially longer stays that becomes an issue.
Slowed for much longer.
Yeah, imagine if it went up to 500, and if we made transition zones up to 20 days, that would be brutal. Or if we made major regions, like, I don't know, go from D20 to 100. Imagine if it was like potentially 100 days in a region. Wow, that would be too long. Percentile, that would be brutal. I'd be so bored. Yeah. I would defeat the purpose. I think 20 days is perfect, right? It's just. But can you imagine if it was D100 and you were like, okay, I got like 87 days in Forsaken Airfield, followed by 92 days in Zone of Contamination. I'd be so dead. I would be so dead. I couldn't do it. No, don't do this. We're so close to being finished. That was a waste.
I need to find food.
Okay. So I was supposed to be streaming last night, and I was all excited to do that. Oh, go away, person. Yeah, I was supposed to be streaming last night, and I discovered my author website has crashed, like, badly. So it's built on WordPress and uses the Elementor plugin. I think what's been happening is... No! Oh, okay. We got close to the edge there. A little dangerous. I think what's been happening is somewhere last year, end of last year, I think one of the plugins got corrupted or hacked, and is created basically a long-term susceptibility, like a weakness in the website, which means that periodically it gets broken. Even trying to remove plugins and dealing with other issues, I think there's something fundamentally broken in the site. Even if I revert back to a previous installation, there is something that's impacted. I think not just the WordPress files, but I think actually there's now a weakness in the SQL database. So that's really rough. That basically means that I'm going to start over from scratch. Now, I've been toying with the idea, more than toying with it, I've been planning this for the last few months to do a complete rewrite of the website and take it off of WordPress and make it once again just a pure HTML and CSS site. And the reason for having like this static site approach or just HTML approach is that it then becomes impossible to hack and impossible to break, and it will survive. Like, it doesn't run into problems when WordPress engine develops so far that it no longer works well with the SQL database version that that it was originally built on, which I think is also a secondary problem, which is it's starting to get to the point where I would have to migrate databases, which would be a nightmare. So that's stuff I'm dealing with behind the scenes. So today, used the Wayback Machine on the Internet Archive to find an archive version of my website. And then I was able just to copy and paste all the text content from all the pages and dump them into a Word file so that I can then, when I sit down to rebuild the website, I'll have all the text content that I was needing. I won't have to rewrite that. But yeah, it is a little bit annoying. So my goal this weekend, I think, is to finish doing a rewrite of the website. And it'll definitely not be anywhere near as complicated as the previous version. It'll just be more streamlined, which I've been wanting to do. I was like thinking, there's just too many like sub-menus and additional pages, and I probably don't need to have all of this in this format. A wolf out there. I'm not going to go that way. No, we are actually warm enough in here. Amazing. Of course it gets all stormy again. Yeah. Yeah, so it's annoying. But, I mean, I've also been wanting to do, like, a design refresh. So, this gives me an excuse to do that. But, I'm still working on the main page. In fact, I might want to take a little break and do just an under construction page, a very simple one. So there's a landing page initially, and then work on the updated versions. But at least I have all the content now, and I can just copy paste in and then edit down to what I really want. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't feel my feet.
I don't expect to run into anyone here, but one never knows.
I'm too cold. The feet. This pack is getting kind of heavy.
Okay. You know, it's interesting. I've been looking at a lot of other author websites, and in the end, I'm not really in love with anyone's. Yeah, it's like there's always things that I find a little bit annoying or underwhelming. Some I think are really beautiful. They just don't work for what I need. So.
I could eat a horse. Let's see him a lot, because I love horses.
So I'm still trying to figure out, I think tonight or tomorrow I'm supposed to get another package. I'm supposed to get another chair. So not an office chair, just something more. It's not like a club chair or super like or an upholstered chair. It's just it's like a step up from, I don't know. It's a accent chair that's not too big or too heavy to deal with. But it's just something for the living room. So I have another chair in the apartment. It's basically what it is. I still haven't solved the sofa problem. I'm not certain what I'm going to do with that. I kind of feel like I'm stretched. This month, I'm pretty stretched until my paycheck comes in, and I really don't want to commit to buying any more furniture until I do that. I might, buy a TV and TV stand off of Facebook Marketplace. I think that might be the next purchase. And then I think next month I might buy a sofa or love seat for the living room. Yeah, and then it's the biggest problem is just like figuring out delivery. If I want a sofa or a love seat, then I'm looking at my options are either to spend a lot of money and have, a fully assembled one delivered to me, and I have to work from home that day to receive it, or I order something from Wayfair or IKEA that comes in a box and then I have to assemble it. Or I order on or I buy something through Facebook Marketplace, but then I have to pay money to have it delivered. And that might mean renting a U-Haul truck, or it might mean, hiring a third party to do the hauling. Neither of which I'm really fond of, because it's just an added expense. So whatever I think is a deal is not going to be a deal because I had to pay to transport it. So this is why, unless someone offers delivery as part of their Facebook Marketplace ad, if they're willing to do the delivery, then I'll pay the extra for the delivery. But otherwise, I might just have to buy, an inexpensive sofa through IKEA or Wayfair. Yeah, but there's really no winning without. When I was in Vancouver, I at least knew one person who had, a sizable. I guess it was an SUV. Maybe it was a minivan. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was large enough that they could take the seats out and they could move a sofa in it, which is how I got the sofa that I had. But then it was a nightmare to get rid of that sofa, which is kind of what I'm dreading. Like, there is another option, which is rent a sofa. But that's kind of a dumb option if you're planning to be here longer than a month, Oh, really? So people ship by ground, like fully assembled chairs? Or like chairs in a box, chairs in a, whatever. Yeah, I was in the box. I was like thinking, you can't slap some postage on a thing and just send it through the mail. It was like, that's not going to happen. Okay, somewhere over here. Didn't we leave some water around here somewhere? Yeah. I mean, my biggest concern about buying couches through some of the online services is that you see them in the ad, and then when they arrive, they turn out to be much, much smaller than you thought. It's because I swear the ads are all filmed with tiny people. It's like, oh yeah, it's perfect size for a tiny person, but not for you. And that's the last thing I want, is to invest in something and then it be too small and uncomfortable for me. But yeah, I swear, it's like I've seen so many ads online, and I look closely and say, that's just a small person. That's not a very big couch. It's just a small person doing the advertising. Yeah. So, I mean, that's part of the attraction of doing something like IKEA, is at least you can go into the store showroom and you can look at it and you can sit on it and you can say yeah, I'm willing to do this. Or nah, it looks too cheap. I won't do that. But if I do IKEA will be to get something that is both inexpensive. Well, I mean, that's the trade-off. You can find something that's relatively cheap and is ultimately cheap and kind of crappy. Where are you, buddy? Oh, there you are. Feeling lucky? Yeah, so Wayfair only makes sense if you've previously ordered it, looked at it, and said, hey, I actually can use that. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk on the chair that I ordered from Wayfair because I actually have not seen it in person. I've looked at the measurements. I think it's reasonable, but it's also probably not going to be my primary chair. It's just going to be like a side chair for a guest to sit on. You know, and I might take the love seat or sofa. You know. Now, if it is suitably comfortable, then then basically I will, then I think it gives me a little bit more flexibility. We'll see. Or just sit on a stack of books. Yes, like a bookworm that I am.
I need to find some place to escape this cold.
Speaking of which, I finally unpacked my one box of books and my backpack of D&D books that I brought with me. And they did not fill up one bookcase, so I'm a little sad. But there's room to grow. Oops, I don't need to throw it away yet. Yeah, I gotta buy more books. Yeah, clearly. Yeah. So,
If at home, warm up soon.
that's. So I have like a cheap Walmart bookcase, like a 3-shelf bookcase, and then I also have an IKEA like 2x2 cube calyx. And I don't need both of them right now. So I'm trying to decide which is going to serve what purpose. Honestly, the calyx is better, even if it's a little bit bigger for the space. It's better because the shelves are tall enough to accommodate like the D&D books, which are a little bit too tall for like if I want to put them on the shelves with the put them on shelves on the 3-shelf bookcase. It means that one of my other shelves is going to be really small with the adjustable shelves. So so I'm toying with what to do with that. But I kind of want to have one shelf in the living room, and then one shelf here in the bedroom. But the truth is, like most of the books I do want to reference, so they'll probably end up staying here in the bedroom. So that raises the question, what was I going to put on the one in the living room? I messed up. Okay, let's do this here. That was a separate problem when I first arrived in the city and was staying at this Airbnb while I was looking at apartments. The Airbnb was in this neighborhood with great restaurants and 2 really fantastic bookstores. And so I definitely got sucked into buying books before I had even moved in. It was like, So I'm certain over the course of the year I'm going to definitely fill out the bookcases. But right now the living room is kind of like an unfinished project. It is an unfinished project. The one lamp I put in the living room, I accidentally did not buy enough bulbs for, so I have to go back to IKEA and buy more bulbs. So it's like everything's unfinished. I think the Calyx unit is like the only thing I finished in the living room. So it's technically the one piece of furniture in the living room right now. What are we doing time-wise? Okay. We've done all this. Yeah. Yeah.
This pack is getting kind of.
Yeah, I'll get there. No, we're out of Tinder. So yeah, I've been trying to get this D&D group off the ground locally, and I've been advertising, and it looks like I will actually have enough people. I got 7 responses now. Initially, I only had one person contact me, and I was beginning to worry, and then it was like suddenly there's a flood of interested people. But the big challenge is figuring out where to run the games, as well as the usual like scheduling issues. So, because I don't think 7 people, I don't think I can fit this place. Not realistically, I don't have seating for 7. So I'd already done some research and found like there's an internet games cafe that actually also has rooms available for board games and D&D. And it's pretty reasonable. They charge $15 per person, but that gives you 5 hours in the room. So now they do, they are like, how can I put it? They are an establishment where they want you to buy their food, so you can't bring in food. But they do have a range of things available for food. There are also restaurants in the area, so you could eat in advance and then come into game. So that's kind of what I'll recommend. I'm going to do a little sneak peek here. I posted a little survey for people to fill out to try to get a feel for. Oh, I've got 5 people already responded. Look at that. 7 people had indicated on Discord that are interested. 5 have responded so far. Wow. Interesting. Wow, what an interesting mix. So I have, so far the people that have responded, like 3/5, so 5 people responded, 3/5 of them identify with female pronouns. 1 with they, them, and 1 he, him. So this is going to be a predominantly, like, that's unusual. I've had one other group that was like this. That was like mostly women, and they can be really great games, so I think this will be a lot of fun. But I wasn't expecting to get that, so I think that's cool. I was like thinking that this space would probably be dominated by dudes. And I definitely didn't want to have like a whole dude bro culture going on. So we'll see. And it looks like 40% of them have never played. So I think that's 2 out of 2/5 maybe have never played. And then there's like one very experienced, one somewhat experienced, and one who's played a few one-shots. Okay, some people have a background in playing video games and are interested in coming over to D&D. Okay. Oh, interesting. One person has a phobia of worms. Okay. Interesting. Not like that plays a big role in my game, so it's not an issue. Yeah, so we'll see. Interesting stuff. But I'm excited. I'm going to... Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, so it looks like most people can do Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. We'll leave this up a little bit longer, and then I'll see what the final tally is. But yeah, so I'm kind of excited. I definitely can't run a game for 7 people. It's just, I know my limits. I know like a group of 7 people becomes, the mechanics are unmanageable. Like the action economy, as they call it, gets really crazy, and it is too much labor for me. It's like the game's supposed to be fun. I don't want to spend all my time rebalancing the game for 7, adventures. That's a lot. But if it ends up being 5 or 6, I think I can make that. I've generally made that work. 6 is nice because there's redundancy. If someone gets sick or can't make it, then there's still 5 people there. And you can still have a pretty challenging set of combats. But yeah, it's one of the key things that I try to do when I move to a new city is get myself into a D&D group as soon as possible.
Starving.
How are we doing? We're on day 23. We leave on day 24. Let's see here. I think our goal will be to get Astrid out of here, and then we'll wrap up the stream. So, got another day to go, and then we'll I'll head on out.
My fingers feel numb.
Well, I could rescue the skin off of this guy, but I really don't see any point. Just want the feathers. I guess we could take the hide.
Come on, Loper. Perfect.
Only one more day of work this week. So close.
Oh, I'm starving. I'm starving. Oh, I'm starving.
Cooking for? We're on our way. We're getting close to Far Strength 3. Yep. Oh. Oh, finally the winds died down.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Yeah, what am I doing? Being tired. Okay, time to head back to our base for the night. Ooh.
getting too heavy to carry.
Oh, what am I doing? Oh, I know. We're going to do these. We're going to craft when we get to the transition cave.
Oh, I'm starving.
Oh. Oh well, good enough. Oh no, the Long Noir. We haven't done that in a while. Good to see you, Roller. Welcome in. Yeah, let's see what we can provide you here. Yeah, so we had a little bit of a late start too. I started about half an hour later than I usually do, and I'm probably not going to go. I'm going to go for maybe another 20 minutes or so. So we'll do a little reading, and then we'll pop back into the game. No, it's fine. It's let's see, Maltese Falcon. I think is where we left off. Okay. Looking for roughly where we left off here, and I think we may have been at the start of chapter 4, so I'm going to start there. This is the Maltese Falcon. Yeah, with classic with Sam Spade, written by this is Dashiell Hammett. And the chapter is The Blackbird. Miss Wonderly, in a belted green crepe silk dress, opened the door of apartment 1001 at the Coronet. Her face was flushed. Her dark red hair, parted on the left side, swept back in loose waves over her right temple, was somewhat tousled. Spade took off his hat and said, "Good morning." His smile brought a fainter smile to her face. Her eyes, of blue that was almost violet, did not lose their troubled look. She lowered her head and said in a hushed, timid voice, "Come in, Mr. Spade." She led him in past open kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom doors into a cream and red living room, apologizing for its confusion. "Everything is upside down. I haven't even finished unpacking." She laid his hat on the table and sat down on the walnut settee. He sat on a brocaded oval-back chair facing her. She looked at her fingers, working them together, and said, "Mr. Spade, I've a terrible, terrible confession to make." Spade smiled a polite smile, which she did not lift her eyes to see, and said nothing. That story I told you yesterday was all a story," she stammered, and looked up at him now with miserable, frightened eyes. "Oh, that," Spade said lightly. "We didn't exactly believe your story." "Then?" Perplexity was added to the misery and fright in her eyes. "We believed your $200. You mean? She seemed not to know what he meant. I mean that you paid us more than if you'd been telling us the truth, he explained blandly, and enough more to make it all right. Her eyes suddenly lighted up. She lifted herself a few inches from the settee, settled down again, smoothed her skirt, leaned forward, and spoke eagerly. And even now you'd be willing to? Spade stopped her with the palm-up motion of one hand. The upper part of his face frowned, the lower part smiled. That depends, he says. The hell of it is, Miss... Is your name Wonderly or LeBlanc? She blushed, murmured, It's really O'Shaughnessy. Bridget O'Shaughnessy. The hell of it, Miss O'Shaughnessy, that a couple of murders, she winced, coming together like this, get everybody stirred up, make the police think that they can go the limit, make everybody hard to handle and expensive. It's not... He stopped talking because she had stopped listening and was waiting for him to finish. Mr. Spade, tell me the truth. Her voice quivered on the verge of hysteria. Her face had become haggard around desperate eyes. Am I to blame for last night? Spade shook his head. Not unless there are things I don't know about, he said. You warned us that Thursby was dangerous. Of course, you lied to us about your sister and all, but that doesn't count. We didn't believe you. He shrugged his sloping shoulders. I wouldn't say it was your fault. She said, thank you, very softly, and moved her head from side to side. But I always blame myself. She put her hand to her throat. Mr. Archer was so alive yesterday afternoon, so solid and hearty and... Stop it, Spade commanded. He knew what he was doing. They're the chances we take. Was he married? Yes, with 10,000 insurance, no children, and a wife who didn't like him. Oh, please don't, she whispered. Spade shrugged again. That's the way it is. He glanced at his watch and moved from his chair to the settee beside her. There's no time for worrying about that now. His voice was pleasant but firm. Out there, a flock of policemen and assistant district attorneys and reporters are running around with their noses to the ground. What do you want to do? I want you to save me from it all, she replied in a thin, tremulous voice. She put her timid hand on his sleeve. Mr. Spade, do they know about me? Not yet. I wanted to see you first. What would they think if they knew about the way I came to you with those lies? It would make them suspicious. That's why I've been stalling them till I could see you. I thought maybe we wouldn't have to let them know all of it. We ought to be able to fake a story that will rock them to sleep if necessary. You don't think I had anything to do with the murders, do you? Spade grinned at her and said, I forgot to ask you that. Did you? No. That's good. Now what are we going to tell the police? Okay, so we'll pause there. Don't break my heart, Mr. Spade. Now. Yeah, Mr. Spade was in a dilemma with a friend. It seems like every chapter he's in a dilemma with his friend, and then someone is accusing him of something that he didn't do. Or maybe he did do, but he did for a completely different reason. Oh, okay, so we are almost ready to wrap up our time in Desolation Point. We're so close. Okay, so let's think about what we have available for food. Lots of porridge. We really need flour.
I'm gonna need to eat soon.
I am looking forward to this long weekend, but I think it's mainly because I have some furniture to assemble. I think we'll just have to let ourselves go to starving. Still don't have enough food to...
God, I'd eat anything right about now.
No pager. Yeah, my big goals for this weekend, assemble, I guess, the chair when it arrives tomorrow. And then I also want to see if I can pick up a TV and TV stand on Facebook Marketplace. Prices are dropping again, so I figure people are getting desperate. Probably get a good deal. I'm not looking for a very big TV. I measured out the space that I have for the TV, and I think all I really need is a 32-incher. So I think that'll be probably the plan. And we don't need to take more coal. Do we need to take this? Maybe. But the other things I want to do is I want to make some Chinese pot stickers over the weekend and freeze them. So usually I can make a big batch, fold them all up and then freeze them. And then store them in Ziploc bags. And then just cook what I need when I need them. It's really convenient and very cheap compared to buying them. But it is not just Valentine's. It's also Chinese New Year's on Monday, I think. Monday or Tuesday. Anyways, it's coming soon, so... I need to do something. It'll last me a week. Well, if I have them every day, yeah, I'll go by no time. Goal isn't to eat them every day. Oh, nice try, buddy. So yeah, do some meal prep for the week. I say meal prep, that really just means I cook a big batch of stuff and then force myself to stick it into Tupperware because I don't want to eat it all in one sitting. Still not quite 24. But the other thing I want to make this weekend is a big batch of Japanese... Well, I make a sweet potato curry in kind of a Japanese style, which is like a little bit thicker and a little bit sweeter. Still spicy though. I could also make, but I think I'll make this next week, is spam musubi. Kind of a Hawaiian Japanese thing.
Jeez, this is cold.
Following this all. Finally, day 24. Good to go.
So cold. I'm warming up a bit.
Okay, we got carcasses on the other side here that we can take advantage of.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
Okay, already searched everything. I'm going to be embarrassed if it turns out that the cold did not respawn, and hopefully I left some on the other side. Mm-hmm. Oops, not what I wanted. No new coal. That's harsh. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop what we got here. Okay, folks, how long are we going to be here?
Dropping.
Survey says currently still a D4, right? under 50 days. So looks like that's a 2. 2 days it is. Currently on day 4. And Crumbling Highway 02. Very, very nice. Crumbling Highway, that is a perfect time. Enough time to loot. Two days again. Left ourselves a little bit of coal here. Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah. Here's our save for tonight. Day 24. Okay, so we are going to wrap up with home, and then we will go raid someone. So I still have to be up early for work tomorrow. Okay, so let's read something. Let's see what we get here. Extern. Okay. This comes from Babbage's Dream, my second book of poetry, published by Sundress Publications in 2017. We are going to read Extern, which refers to a variable defined outside of any function block. Beyond this moment and the cubicled space I leave behind, something else exists. The freeway at 3 a.m., bare, silent, a crease in the troubled skin of the city, the thin gray waterway I drift in, drink in, disengaged, without clouds, light, or memory. The car carrying me forward on autopilot, and my eyes blank to the world full of the invisible grace of gravity, what holds us in place at every turn, keeps us from sliding into the concrete walls that divide us from oblivion. Everything outside us contains us. At home, the vacant bed, the sheets unstirred, the sound of the upstairs neighbor making love, the creak and bang of her wooden frame shifting again above me against the walls while I sit, sleepless, before the gray mask of the TV screen, numb to the pantomime of fire flickering across the length of the empty living room, the dull end of things. Some nights I hear a man on the street below cursing at an invisible stranger. You betrayed me. You betrayed me. You will pay. Uncolored dogs prowl beyond him, and the girls on the corner in their short skirts bare their teeth, pale and broken. A ragged young man digs with one hand down the gutter drain, trying to pull something free before it slips forever out to sea. Sometimes I dream of the ghost of a bird, its eyes dark like mine, asleep in the fold of a tree, its shadow the shape of a harp. Okay, so that was Extern. So there was a period of time when I was working in the games industry in Los Angeles, and I had, I don't know, it was an interesting experience. It was my first time working like after university, working in a professional job, living on my own, having my own place. And, you know, and I had an apartment that was a decent size, but basically empty because I was never home because I was always at work. And when I got home, it just felt like this empty cell. I had furniture, and occasionally I would have friends over, but for the most part, it was just this empty space I returned to every night. And I do remember, like, the longer my work days were, the later into the night that I would go, I'd get home, I'd be exhausted, but I couldn't fall asleep. So I'd sit in the living room. And in these days, back then, Netflix was still like something that you ordered you got CDs or DVDs in the mail. And so, yeah, I know, that's a long time ago. And so I would just be watching my way through international cinema or other things that had been on my checklist of things to watch. Not so much because I was always deeply fascinated by the movie, but partly because I just needed something to unwind. And it was on one of those occasions that I discovered that my upstairs neighbor had on occasion overnight guests, and she could be rather enthusiastic. And the whole upstairs, the apartment above me, the walls would shake, and I could hear the bed frame slamming against the wall. And I was like, well, that's some enthusiasm. There's something happening upstairs. There's nothing happening down here. So anyways, I thought about that. So that's what made it into the poem. And then it was also, I was living in Glendale, California. Yeah, oh my, is definitely what it was. I was living in Glendale, California, in this quiet neighborhood. And I do recall, like, one night, I heard someone muttering around outside. I looked out the window, and there's this big, bulky guy walking this tiny dog around. And I was like, what's that about? At really odd hours. And then another night, I heard someone, like, just yelling on the phone in the street and just saying, you betrayed me, you will pay. And so, like, I started to put some pieces together, and I started to think about, like, on the weekends, I would see, like, these old Armenian guys sitting out on the lawn outside of their apartment buildings on these lawn chairs. And then people would pull up in cars, get out, go and chat with the guy, get back into their car, drive off. And it finally the light bulb went off, and I was like, I think I live in the neighborhood with the Armenian mafia. And so I asked one of my friends who was who grew up in the city, and I said, these are some of the things I'm seeing and hearing. And he said, yeah, it would not surprise me at all. He says, do you ever see cops on your street? I said, never. He says, yeah. That's what you're living. So anyways, that's that. No, I exaggerate a few things. We did not have any, anyone working the street corner in my neighborhood. That's kind of an exaggeration. So, but I do remember seeing, like, on the sewer drains, it was there was like a stamp on the sewer drains, which I'd never really noticed before, that said, be careful what you throw in here because it flows directly out to the sea. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, So anyways, so some interesting behind the scenes, behind the poem. Okay, let's figure out who we can go raid, and I'm going to go get some sleep. Okay, so we got a few options here. Hyperman is up. 558 days into Loper. Man, that's a long run. Yeah, we'll pop over. Other people still doing... Okay. Okay. Then we'll visit Hyperman. Okay, so thank you all for hanging out. We will catch up next stream, probably this weekend sometime. Working on details. Not certain when, but maybe Saturday. Maybe.